What up? What up? What up? Welcome to Perfect Mode. And first off, let me start by telling y'all that we love y'all. We're grateful for the opportunity to be anywhere, sharing our thoughts, the way that we see life, and hopefully helping you realize that you're perfect. And the reason why I can unapologetically say that is because I know that you are one of one. You are the numero uno. You cannot be duplicated. And the only reason you would think that you're not perfect is if you're comparing yourself to someone else and saying, hey, they better than me. I need to do it like them. But guess what? You are the one. You are the one that brings what we bring to the world. And at the end of the day, we always encourage everybody to do what we do, share. Because though we may get to the same endpoint, the pathway by which we travel is always different. And the things that we do in between, the pathway, the journey, those are the things that can help anyone get over the hump. And of course, it's yours truly, Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. And I have my boy Jay Clay, spiritual rapper and teacher. And we about to get on here today and talk about how to heal all, not just some, all, including chronic pain and mental illness. Hashtag the healing. What up, Jay?
Yeah, what's up? Happy
What up,
Sunday,
man?
happy Sunday. Another beautiful day, excuse me, in the
Yeah.
land of perfect modes. And
Mm.
yeah, man, it's a good topic. I'm excited. We even touched on some of it in early episodes, but it's good to just give it its own just spotlight and just heal. Let's just all heal. Let's be healed. All this
So,
trying.
you know what I'm saying? So, what I want to, so again, like you said, we touched on it in different shows, and we couldn't really just dive all the way into it. But I want to know what made you decide today. Let's go ahead and just do this, Troy. Like,
Yeah, it,
what
it was
was
just
on
it
your
just
head
been on my
specifically that
mind.
brought it back?
So I guess I'll give an introduction to this. So, as you know, all things are cause and effect. They're one in a sense. An effect cannot exist without its cause. A cause can also be synonymous with the purpose. When something loses its purpose, you give it away, you let it go, you throw it away, you sell it. You're like, I don't have a purpose for this anymore. I'm gonna let it go. And when we start to look at a cause as a purpose, we can start to let the cause go of certain things we think we possess. For instance, like someone may felt that they injured themselves, so they have an ailment, and somebody might say what's wrong, and they say, oh, because of that time this happened, or somebody might say, I have this illness, this mental illness, and as a person with this illness, blah blah blah. So they think that they were born into it. They think birth was the cause, and so they carry that, and so the effect is always there. And the general idea is, if you forego the cause, the effect will have nothing to stand on, and it will soon fade away.
And I think too, so just kind of diving in this to a little bit more. When you say foregone the cause, and an example of anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How does that really look? How does foregoing the cause look? Because, somebody, just as an example for myself, one day I'm at a volleyball practice with my kid, my son, and I'm not even doing anything strenuous. I'm just helping them out. And they like, Troy, let's do this circle. And when we do this circle, we just gonna bump. And I'm when I say I slightly step over, yeah, twist ankle, right? And so I'm sore. And now I'm telling you that I'm injured because I twisted my ankle at volleyball practice, bumping the ball, right? And so when you say forego this cause, how do we do that? What does that really look like?
Yes, that's a good question. So some people may look at it at first, they think, well, how can you ignore it? Don't ignore it. And now I'm not saying to ignore it, because if you were to ignore it, you would still be acknowledging its existence first and then thinking that you have to ignore it. And that's furthest from the truth. What I'm saying is, instead of ignoring it, just don't give way to the cause. So somebody can say, what happened? I don't know. My ankle is just hurting right now. It just is what it is. My ankle is just hurting right now. And you're not giving a date to it, a purpose to it. You're just saying this is what is right now. And since you're not tied to the purpose or the cause of it, you will soon forget about it. You will soon forget that something ever happened. Actually, I'll give this example about just the power of not forgetting, but just not acknowledging. So the more I've been in this spiritual space, the more I realized that a lot of people had phenomenon happen when they were younger and that they just did not talk about. And I was like, what? I would love to have had something like this happen, but people said that when they would tell someone, they would look at them like they were crazy. They would tell them that's nonsense, don't speak like that, just any number of things. So they just wouldn't. They just wouldn't acknowledge it. And after a while, they feel they lost their gifts because they didn't acknowledge or use them. And it's not that they lost them; they can still get them back. But it was just simply out of sight, out of mind. It was there, but they chose not to acknowledge it, and so that they forgot that they even had these gifts that they have been blessed with and still have. And we can be that in a similar way, except we're just using this to negate the negative effects by not giving way to the cause.
So I'm gonna tell you. So I'm gonna bring it back real quick, and I'm going to go a little bit more into the story. Yeah. Because when we say foregone the cause, to me in my own head that sounds confusing. But I know what you're saying. But I'm just saying, when I try to process it, if we weren't having a conversation, I would be like, "What you mean? Like I can't untwist my ankle." But one thing that you specifically said was not acknowledge it, meaning don't give it the power, so that way it's just a pain that eventually will go away. Because again, you 100% right when you say, if somebody asks me what's wrong, I say, well, my ankle is hurt because I twisted my ankle, and I keep on living with twisting my ankle. I'm letting that be the forefront versus the end, right? So this day when I twisted my ankle, just so happened to be the last day when we were in me and you both were doing what's the word for this? Like a program. We were doing a program to learn how to run for 30 minutes straight, right? And so in this program, we had like 3 weeks. I mean, no, it had to be like 4 weeks or almost 2 months or something like, right? So we were going through this program, and on this last day, I had this volleyball practice, and I twisted my ankle. And I was sad in a sense. I was like, dang, I'm not even going to be able to just do this. And if I don't complete it today, then I failed the program. So I come home, even my wife like, you need to get off your ankle, you need to sit down, like all this kind of stuff. But my mind was so made up on running the program, I said, I don't care about the twisted ankle, right? Now, this is the beauty of what you're saying, but also how you still living with it can come back to you, right? So this day I was like, well, I worked too hard to get to this point. Now my ankle is hurting like crazy because I twisted my ankle. But I'm just dead set on, there's no way that I'm going to allow this to stop me from doing this 30-minute run. So when I got home, I tied the shoes up tight. Yeah. And then I was like, I'm just going to do it no matter what. And so I got on the treadmill and I put it on 6 miles per hour. And I just started going. And I'm telling you, every step of the way, in that beginning, maybe 3 to 4 minutes, I was like, woo, this is a beast. But this is what happened along the way. Along the way, outside of the pain of my ankle, I started to get tired, right? So what happened was, versus me thinking about my ankle being twisted, I started thinking about how tired I was. So I just kept on running because I had been there before. Okay, I've been tired when I'm running, but I know tired can't make me stop. But all of this thinking that I'm doing while I'm running about being tired is slowly making me forget about my ankle being twisted. Now, I'm not saying that the pain went away, but I'm saying that my focus was no longer on ankle being twisted or ankle being sore. And so before I knew it, I'm 15 minutes in my run, and now I'm not even thinking about my ankle anymore. And so in the grand scheme of my mind in those moments, my ankle wasn't even sore no more. I didn't even feel it. I wasn't tender anymore during this process. And then by 20 minutes in, I was more focused on, I wasn't even tired anymore because again, that was just another construct of my mind. And I guess in a sense for me, I was more thinking about, okay, I'm looking at my heart rate. Okay, Troy, you need to keep your heart rate around here. 150, 150, 150. You need to breathe, deep breathe. So now my entire attention is focused on my, how I run, how I get there. And the reality, the crazy thing is now I'm not thinking about tired or ankle. And now my ankle is not hurting anymore and I'm not tired anymore. And then when I got to the end of my run 30 minutes in, I was so happy that all the stuff that I'm just talking about was not even a thing, right? And so I sat down, I celebrated myself, I was crunk, and then later I remembered that I twisted my ankle. Later, I remembered that I twisted my ankle. And when I remembered that I twisted my ankle, it all came back to me. And it was just crazy. And, the one thing that I thought about was, you ever seen the movie Major Payne, right? At the very beginning of the movie, a dude got shot. And he was like, I don't remember verbatim how he said it, but he was like, you want to stop feeling your pain? He like, yeah. And then he break his finger. And then he like, you don't feel the gunshot no more because you're thinking about something completely different. And so that's why I think the mental part of this is very important. But the acknowledgement, like you said, was everything. But go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and similar. I'll share a similar story from a different angle where I actually felt the full effects. So similar, it was the same running program. I think that last day I just didn't feel like doing it. I was probably dreading it the whole time. But when I finished, I was happy. And I think I just started just doing extra stuff. So I'm going to, for the purpose of this story, I'm going to purposely acknowledge the cause. And so I was like, well, I started running down the hill backwards because I think the program was meant for a treadmill that has hills. And I was like, I don't have no hills. I'm going to do this hills. And then I think I stepped backwards into a pothole, and it just, I tumbled over. I felt the same depleting energy from when I broke my wrist. Like everything just went there. So I could have broke my ankle. I don't know. I don't have insurance. I didn't go, did all that. And I was just out of commission. And anybody who asked, I told them exactly what happened. I gave way to the cause, and I was out of commission for months. Like it was just nothing I could do. I couldn't run or whatever. And then recently, because I think me and you started back running like 4 months ago, I was like, forget it. Forget what happened. Like, and this is stuff I already know. Like I could have been did this, but I was like, forget what happened. I don't care. I'm running no matter what. I'm getting ready to get up and be active because I wasn't playing basketball. I wasn't doing anything. I said, I'm going to do this no matter what. And I started, and I felt it. I felt it in the beginning. I didn't care. I'm just going to do what I do. And then somewhere along the way, because I stopped acknowledging what happened, and just was focused on the moment. What it is like right now. Okay, I feel it, but I can still run. It went away, and like my ankle is completely healed. I don't feel a twinge. I don't feel anything. I've been doing things for months now, being active. But that's just one of millions of stories of things I healed by not acknowledging it, by not acknowledging the cause. You can acknowledge the effect, but just forego the cause, ignore the cause if you want, and then soon it'll just fade away.